Good evening, everyone. We're going to go ahead and get going here. Welcome, everyone. Today is Tuesday, June 11th, 2024, and the board meeting, the business session, is now called to order. It is 6:02. We have all board members present in person this evening. It's a full room.
I feel like that was targeted.
No. We're just a full room, and we have one of our student advisors, Linda, with us. President Patrick isn't with us. We'll go ahead, and I'll actually hand it off to Linda for you to read the land acknowledgement, if that's all right.
We are gathered today on the land of the Kalapuya, who are represented by the Confederated Tribes of the Grand Round and the Confederated Tribes of the Siletz Indians. The relationship between the Kalapuya people and this land continues unbroken to this day, and we offer gratitude for the land and for the generations present and past who have stewarded the land since time immemorial. We respectfully acknowledge and honor past, present, and future Native American and Indigenous students and staff of Salem-Keizer Public Schools. We invite you to join us in honoring these ancestral grounds and celebrating the resilience and strength of all Native American and Indigenous people.
Thank you. Now, if we'll rise and for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. We do have a packed agenda, so I know that for all of us, just going to encourage us to be timely of our comments as we move forward. But with that, I'll go ahead and hand it, Superintendent, any agenda modifications for this portion?
No, we have none.
Okay. So we got to go. Oh, Patrick, I see you on screen. Welcome. Good to have you with us. We'll go ahead and jump right into spotlights on success in that case.
Wonderful. We have a number of spotlights, and I think it's a large portion of this room, so that makes it extra joyful. I am going to actually do just kind of a couple of quick rules of the road. We're going to do photos at the very end. So as the spotlights are called, those of you who are being honored can come up. And then at the end, we'll have everybody come up here and take photos together with your certificates and big smiles. So we're actually first going to start by with our community spotlight, which is a spotlight for Crystal Apple. And I wish everybody could have been in this room that was so full of joy and pride and happiness. It was just like a beacon of a night. And it was made possible because we have amazing educators who nominated each other and who showed up for the night and just do this incredible work every day. But it was also made possible because there are a lot of people behind the scenes who turned this red carpet event into something that was glamorous and hilarious. It was spirited and funny and moving. And if you imagine like the Oscars, except for only the best things and none of the cattiness, that's what Crystal Apple was. It was just really spectacular, and a gift to everyone who was able to participate in any way. So we have a number of people that we want to honor and recognize as part of this event. And so we'll start first with Katie Kostick. Katie, are you with us? Ah, there. And I'll invite you out to the front of the room, and I think, yeah, so Katie, along with a few other people, was just really central to all of the amazing things that happened. We also have Kim Hansen. I'm not actually sure. Oh, perfect. All right, I'm just going to list these names and then join us up front. So we have Katie Kostick, Kim Hansen, Amy Madonka. And then not able to be with us tonight is Salam Noor, who helped instrumentally in the background, Kathy Gordon, Dan Johnson, and Jackie Ellerbrock. The chamber was just an amazing partner in this, and you all did such hard work to make that night special. And everyone who was there knew it was special. Special things don't happen by magic. they happen by hard work. And then we also, of course, want to just extend our gratitude to Tom Hoffert at the Chamber, and to the 97 people we honored, but also to the hundreds of people who could have been honored in addition to those 97. So we just really want to say thank you to everyone who made it happen. And we will honor you with even more pictures very soon. So thank you. And then is there anything you guys want to add?
Just from the Chamber and the McLaren Leadership Foundation, and then obviously our key sponsors, Mountain West Center for Community Excellence, MAPS Credit Union, and the Epping Family Foundation. We were absolutely honored to take on this event. It is a lot of work, but it's definitely worth it to be there and see the excitement and joy, and look forward to many future events.
Yeah, thank you so much. Okay, so for our next spotlight, I would like to invite Sarah Leroy to the front. Actually, Dr. Leroy to the front. Congratulations. She's a level director for elementary education, and I'll let you take it away.
Good evening, Chair Guzman-Ortiz, board directors, student advisors, and Superintendent Castaneda. It is my great pleasure to recognize, celebrate, and shine a light on two of our exceptional kindergarten teachers, Rochelle Breaker from Cummings Elementary and Pedro Espinoza Gomez from Chavez Elementary. Both Miss B and Mr. Espinoza have gone above and beyond in preparing our students and families for a successful transition to school for the 24-25 school year. As we all know, starting kindergarten is a significant milestone in a child's life. It's a time filled with excitement, curiosity, and sometimes a bit of uncertainty. Our kindergarten teachers have embraced this challenge wholeheartedly, ensuring that every child and family feels supported and ready for this important journey. One innovative way they have done this is by partnering with our early childhood program and communications team to host 2 Facebook Live events, one in English and one in Spanish. These sessions have been an incredible resource for our community that will continue to provide a space for families to hear directly from them about how to prepare for entering kindergarten. Through these events, our families learned about ways to support their child this summer, how to register for school and summer activities such as Jumpstart Kindergarten, and answered critical questions from families in real time. These live sessions have and continue to create a space where families can connect directly with our educators, fostering a sense of belonging and collaboration with many in our community. To all our teachers, your hard work and passion do not go unnoticed. Your innovative approach to engaging with families and your dedication to our students' early education sets the foundation for their future success. Ms. B and Mr. Espinoza, thank you for your commitment, your creativity, and your heart, ensuring that every student thrives even before starting their very first day of school. Please join me in giving a heartfelt round of applause to our outstanding educators.
Thank you, Sarah, and also to the team. I'll just say anyone who's ever supported a kindergarten or sent a kindergartner to the school just knows how important that feeling is of knowing what's going to happen to them during the day, feeling confident about their experience. It's a really special time for kids and parents, so thank you for that.
I want to say I feel lucky for having seen Pedro in action. I don't think you know that, but that was last year, and so amazing.
Yeah. Okay, then our final spotlight is our student spotlight, and I can't see Brian Armstrong, but I think he's, there you are, Brian. In addition to our spotlight here, as he makes his way to the front, I'll also just acknowledge Brian's instrumental role in a spectacularly great South graduation. I could see the amount of care and work that was, and you made it really special for the families and everyone involved.
Thank you.
And I'll hand over to you.
Okay. Good evening, Chair Guzman, Ortiz, board directors, and student advisors, and Superintendent Castaneda. I'm happy to be here tonight to celebrate the phenomenal success of South Salem High School's girls flag football team, who are this year's state champions. This victory was not just a testament to their talent and hard work, but also a historic milestone as they're among the pioneers in this sport in our state. Can we bring them up, or how does this work?
We'll bring them, since there's so many,
of
I
them?
think,
Okay,
we're going to
gotcha.
bring them up at the end, yeah.
All right. Our athletes have demonstrated unparalleled dedication, resilience, and teamwork. Their journey started with the pilot program for girls flag football, an initiative that has grown significantly, providing another platform for young women to showcase their athletic talents. Their commitment to the sport, from early morning practices to thrilling game days, has paid off remarkably. Each play, each pass, and each touchdown you executed with precision and determination has led you to this well-deserved victory. I also want to extend appreciation to the coaching staff. Their guidance, encouragement, and tactical expertise have been instrumental in shaping this team into champions. Their dedication goes beyond the field, fostering a spirit of confidence and sportsmanship in these young athletes. This achievement is not just a vital win for South Salem, but a significant moment for the entire community. It highlights the growing importance of women's sports and the opportunities they create. As the sport continues to gain momentum, this victory serves as an inspiration to many young girls aspiring to follow in their footsteps. Congratulations to the Saxon girls flag football team. Your hard work, passion, and unity have culminated in this fantastic achievement. We are incredibly proud of you and look forward to many more victories in the future.
All right, so we will meet over here by the whiteboard, and I think what we'll do is start with Crystal Apple, and then we'll go from there on to the employee spotlight, and then we'll close out with flag football. Yeah, stay up there.
Really quickly, I did want to just say, I also want to thank so much for the flag football team. I know that in your speech, Brian, that you just mentioned how inspirational it is for young girls, but I mean, also for me, like I would have loved to have had this when I was in high school. And so I'm so happy that we have the support, and to see all the athletes here in this room. I mean, like, y'all are definitely my role models too. So thank you.
I'm sorry if you responded to, I upgraded my phone and I upgraded that into my Google phone number, which is what you and I have been talking on. So if you tried to call me like a text, I wasn't again. You live in super sick, so I'm like, I feel like I'm becoming a human again. I would still like to kick coffee and
Thank you all for joining us this evening, and thanks for all of the work that you do in communities, schools. It's really, really appreciated, and it makes us Salem-Keizer. I'm going to give it a little sec because people are transitioning. It's still all your superintendent with the superintendent's report.
Yep.
Which I might be brief today, but.
So for the superintendent's report, I'm going to start first by acknowledging our student advisors. So we have Patrick. We had Patrick a moment ago, and I think we're going to get him back, and Linda. And I just want to say what an amazing experience we've all had with you guys on the board. It's really been wonderful. And it is almost a year ago that I met you both. We were at Olive Garden. You were receiving the baton from our past student advisors and getting advice, and now a full year, and a very important year for youth voice and leadership. And I'm going to pause because I have a feeling that board members would probably also like to have a chance to thank you for such a great experience having you both on our board. So I'll pause and see if anyone else wants to join that moment.
I'll jump in and just say, yeah, it was definitely an honor and a privilege to get to serve alongside you. I really appreciated all the input that you both always had. And I also want to thank you for the time and the energy and the dedication that you gave to this district. Because, I mean, I definitely think that it takes another level of drive and will and care and love for your community to come to these meetings and show up every single night, especially while you're going through everything else that it is to be a senior in high school. So thank you so much.
Thank you. You two made it look easy, though, honestly. I remember even discussing finals, and you were always calm and collected and showed up to almost every meeting, and I thought it was really special, your friendship that it seemed like maybe you had prior. I always felt like you did, but maybe it developed after. But just backing each other up, that was really neat. But as I wrote similar words, echoing Maria in a note to you, the thing additionally that I want to just say and remind you of, that it was very interesting because it was a true honor and privilege, but it was so obvious that you both have such strong tools to literally do whatever you want. And I just hope that you both don't ever forget that. And maybe it helps having some funny stranger or something say that. I don't know. I hope it sinks in deeper. But also that you both continue to follow your heart as it may change through the years, but just be true to it. Try not to get locked up in any certain career or style of living. It goes way too fast, our lives, honestly, for that. And you definitely have something worthwhile sharing to the world. So thank you for your time.
I'll just echo what my fellow board members have said and add that it's so nice to have both of your perspectives. It always sort of brings reality back into view when we're talking about things. You're living those things in your schools, and you're able to bring forward a really very valued perspective for me as a board member. And I'll just say it was the highlight, I think, of the year to be able to have Patrick walk across the stage at South and be able to give him a big hug after he got his diploma. So graduation is by far the best part of being on the school board.
Thank you, Linda and Patrick. I really appreciate you both serving. You saw a lot of things which are, no one can prepare anyone for that. And I really appreciate being as calm and grounded through all this as much as you could, knowing fully well what you both went through. So I really appreciate that, and your objective way of calmly sharing your perspective courageously, yet in a very grounded manner. And I'm, my only way to wish both of you is may God's blessings be with you so that you continue this leadership trajectory. Our nation needs both of you. to be like the future leaders. A very mindful leadership is what I saw in both of you, and you continue to do that. May God bless you both. Thank you.
I too want to echo my fellow directors in their comments to both of you. I just have appreciated the very short time I've been able to get to know the two of you, and I'm always so impressed with the level of your questions, the thoughtfulness that you bring to each and every meeting. And I just consider myself being very fortunate to have worked alongside you for these last couple of months, and only sad that it wasn't longer that I could get to know you. I know that both of you are going to change the world, and I am excited to see what your future holds. So thank you for your commitment to our district.
Congratulations to both of you on your graduations and for your service to this district. You have done outstanding things. You have kept us abreast of everything that's going on in your schools, and you've taken leadership roles in your schools and encouraged others to also be involved in school. You are awesome, and I look forward to hearing even greater things about each one of you. Thank you.
I'm gonna wrap it up real quick. All of the above, and I'm just super excited for you. I was chatting with Linda earlier, and I think, the one thing, just a reflection of, it's been a rough year, and I think every year that we sit here, this is my third year for a couple of us, and we never know what it is that you're going to take away, right? When you come onto the board, there's things that we know are part of our agendas and part of our calendar year, but you just never know. And so maybe today you're kind of wondering yourself, well, what did I learn? But I really do hope that with time, your experience on the board manifests itself, and that you can have those reflections and think back to the experience that you had this year, as difficult as it was. And for us, honestly, just super, super thankful and grateful for your voice, your time, your commitment, and your care to all of our students and our educators and the families of our community. So gracias. Gracias, Patrick. También, I'll see you.
I also want to kind of take some of the spirit of that and just move it through the slides and also the superintendent's report. I will be brief tonight, but I want to start with a short story. So there have been hard things this year. And May 17th was one of the harder days. And at the conclusion of that day, it was pretty late. I don't know, maybe like 8 or so. And I was driving home, and I stopped at a stoplight. And I looked over to my left, and there was one of the small Salem-Keizer buses. And so I was looking at it, and I was wondering what they were coming back from. And then the windows started coming down, and all the students started packing along the side of the bus. And they were holding their state championship trophies against the window. And they were cheering. And they were so excited. And it was our unified team. And it still kind of makes me feel emotional, because even in the middle of hard things, there's so much joy. And there are so many accomplishments. It was like a small gift from the universe to see that moment at the end of that day. And it is possible because our staff are so amazing. That is how those things happen. Those strange contrasts. But the lasting part is the joyful part and the impact. The hard things come, and they are hard, but they go too. They don't stay forever. And graduation had that same feel. Erin, can I ask you to bring the slides up? So I too feel that one of the highlights was being able to be at both North and South's graduation for both Patrick and Linda. It was really great. I was not able to go to all of them, but I did make it to a number, and a few things I want to share. First, the joy and family pride at our smaller celebrations. Everybody deserves to see that. Whole tables full of parents that are filming every moment and cheering and crying. because it is such a turning point in life. And the graduations themselves, we've all seen them. We know that they're great. And it was just an opportunity to give myself and all of us give ourselves over to the accomplishments of our students and the accomplishments of the staff who made that moment possible. There's no season like graduation season. And I also am going to take this opportunity briefly to just share one thing that Tara Romine's speech at South made me think of. And I'll use this to close out my superintendent's comments as it relates to both graduation and the future of our country, but also this moment for our district. Hope is not blind optimism. It is not ignoring the enormity of the task ahead of us or the roadblocks that stand in our path. It's not sitting on the sidelines or shirking from a fight. Hope is that thing inside us that insists, despite all evidence to the contrary, that something better awaits us if we have the courage to reach for it, to work for it, and to fight for it. Hope is the belief that destiny will not be written for us, but by us, by the men and women who are not content to settle for the world as it is, and have the courage to remake the world as it should be. I share this because when I look at the graduates, this is what I think that they bring to us. But I also think this is a testament to what can be possible in Salem-Keizer. It's the courage to hope and then act for something that is stronger and better and is what all of our students, staff, and community deserve. And with that, I will conclude my superintendent's comments.
Thanks for those words. They're beautiful.
Oh, sorry. Those were Barack Obama's words, lest you think that I came up
Okay.
with that.
You quoted Tara. Okay, got it.
Okay.
I was gonna say, man, that was deep.
No.
Makes sense. All right. And yes, graduations, it just makes it all worth it, so. We are going to jump in at this moment into public comment. I do want to say we do have two sections of public comment, so we'll jump into this first one around our business session, and then the second portion will be for the budget portion, the budget hearing. But as a reminder, we've selected speakers at random and provided that opportunity for comment via Zoom, in person, and in writing. Today we have 4 folks who are signed up for this portion of public comment. We have the timer on screen, which counts down from 3 minutes, and then at 30 seconds turns green to yellow, and at 1 second turns red and plays a little bell to signal that time is up. Quick reminder to please be mindful of your pace for our interpreters who are supporting us this evening, and any written public comment is handed to the board prior to the meeting. We'll go ahead and start with Tyler. There you go. Tyler Scala-Lakeberg, and then we have Karma, then Roanna, and then Kia. That's the 4 folks we have, so I'll call names as we go. And we should have a hot mic. Okay.
Yes. Thank you. Good evening, school board chairs, directors, superintendent, and our student advisors. I am Tyler Scala-Lakeberg, speaking as the president for the Salem-Keizer Education Association. What a year it's been. We had 2 associations bargaining their contract, budget cuts, and a reduction in force. As we wind down the school year, I think about looking ahead at what next year will look like. When we come back in September, we will have significantly fewer staff in our schools. With the layoffs, we had about a little over 100 people laid off, admin, classified, and licensed combined. That does not include the numerous amount of temporary FTE that was also cut, and we will fill that greatly. So next year will be a year of doing less with less. That means our members will show up, they will work, they will do their jobs to the best of their ability, but they cannot and will not fill in the gaps for this reduction. So I will ask that the school board and district leaders not to be expecting the same level of service going ahead in next year. To our parents and families, your students, your children will be receiving less services as we have less resources. So what can we do? We can stand together. Our school board, our leaders, licensed, classified, and admin, our business leaders, our community partners, and our families with our students stand together and demand that this state starts fully funding our schools. For far too long, we have bared the burden of providing mental, behavioral, and physical health services, while our city and state has done little to none. Our legislators need to step up and either provide those services and take that off our plates, or fully fund our schools so we can meet the needs of our students. While next year looks bleak, I am hopeful that if we work together, we can solve these problems. Our students need more, and they deserve more. Thank you.
Thank you, Tyler. Karma Tarjison? And do correct me on that, my pronunciation.
It's Toriuson.
Toriuson, thank you.
Good evening. I'm Karma. I'm an 8th grader at Parish Middle School.
I'm so, yeah.
Can you please get closer to them, or you can
you
pull the
can
mic.
pull it, yeah.
Yeah, you can pull the mic towards
Okay.
you.
I'm going to talk about a critical issue that has long plagued our educational system, the absence of Native American voices and narratives in the Salem-Keizer School District.
I'm so sorry. So we have an interpreter.
Yeah, so I have to talk slowly.
Yeah, just talk a little bit more slowly, and then she'll be able to keep up.
Okay. So what really is the problem? There is little to no Native story in our curriculum and general indigeneity in the district. As Native students in the Salem-Keizer School District, my brother and I have witnessed a disturbing absence of any meaningful exploration of Indigenous perspectives in our curriculum. This is a problem because it perpetuates culture erasure and negatively impacts both Native and non-Native students' understanding of Indigenous history and culture. It's crucial to the mental health of Indigenous students to learn about the ethnic minorities that were their ancestors. Both Indigenous and non-Indigenous students are affected very negatively by this. So as a call to action, the district should include Native American history in the perspective of a Native as a mandatory part of the social studies curriculum, not just an optional unit or a brief mention in a textbook. This history should cover the richness of Native culture before colonization, the impact of European settlement, and ongoing struggles and continuations of the Native community today. Second of all, schools should collaborate with local tribes and Indigenous educators to help ensure the accuracy and authenticity of the content being taught. This collaboration could help bring real Native voices and perspectives into the classroom, providing students with a more comprehensive and truthful understanding of the history. The district should also encourage using supplementary materials that highlight Native perspectives. Additionally, integrating Native culture into the broader school experience is essential. This could include celebrating Native American Heritage Month, incorporating Indigenous art and music into the curriculum, and recognizing the contributions of Native Americans in various fields such as science, literature, and politics. Lastly, it's important to create a supportive environment for Native students. Schools should be able to provide resources such as counseling and support groups specifically for Natives to help them navigate the challenges they face, and also help heal generational trauma from genocide. Also, membership programs that connect Native students with Indigenous professionals and community members could also provide valuable guidance and support. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you so much, Karma. And we have Roanna Gingrich. And lastly, we'll have Kia Keg.
Hello, hello. My name is Roanna Gingrich, and I'm a former educator, having been with the Salem-Keizer School District for 17 years, currently a downtown Salem business owner, and have an exiting 5th grader at McKinley Elementary School. I know we all have the same goal to make schools safe and welcoming. I believe that the move to install weapons detection systems in our secondary schools does not align with that goal. If our goal is to create community instead of fear, then I would like to know what other options were put on the table to consider alongside the weapons detection systems. Research indicates that lack of connection causes the most behavioral issues, and students not feeling seen or heard is a large part of that. When we turn our schools into reactive entities, as this type of system continues to do, this indicates that we don't believe we can create a safe community in our schools. One idea that has been used in one of our middle schools for the last 2+ years is the Yonder Pouch. This is a tool used in schools that secures and keeps cell phones inaccessible to students for the entire school day. Without access to their cell phones, students are more engaged and they are more likely to build relationships with adults and peers they are with each day. This widens their interactions as opposed to keeping their focus on one ideal they align to, as social media and constant online engagement often does. This can be one piece of a system that can create more understanding between the diverse individuals within our school. Schools using Yonder Pouches have reported an improvement in student behavior, student engagement, and academic performance, keeping kids engaged and focused on the schoolwork and relationships with people actually in their classrooms. In addition, even if schools have a no phone policy, when teachers have to monitor and enforce this, it creates a power struggle and often more behavioral upheaval during instructional time. With Yonder Pouches, this is taken out of a teacher's hands and the power struggle is gone. We all know the negative impacts that constant cell phone usage can have on developing minds and even adult minds. This is one small proactive thing that can be done to make a huge impact. If we have funds to use on weapons detectors, let's redirect those funds and use them on something that could make an actual impact. We would love to know who is looking at other proactive solutions to build community and reduce behavior within our schools. I understand many high school parents have indicated that getting timely reports on attendance, such as for each period they miss in real time as opposed to a report at the end of the day, is another factor that can help parents support schools and keep kids in school and learning. I would like to know the ways in which actual feedback or information will be taken from the pilot at South Salem High School. In the past, feedback has just been used to move the agenda forward and say that educators, students, and families have been given a voice, when in reality, the decision had already been made. I'm curious about the actual data on the impact this system is having in regards to students getting to class on time, the amount of staff support needed to implement, as well as school morale and emotional impact, and how these are being measured. I'm also curious on how data from 2.5 weeks at the tail end of a school year can actually be considered valid. I want to see the actual data from the pilot. I want other options to be considered. I want to see the Yonder Pouches start expanding into secondary schools. I want to see other proactive solutions being presented as opposed to reactive solutions we are currently seeing. Thank you.
Thank you. And then we have Kia. Are you with us today? Kia Keck?
So Kia's on Zoom, so go ahead and unmute.
Oh, okay, I see phone, okay. I missed that part.
Kia, you can press *6 to unmute.
Can you hear me?
We hear you now, yeah.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. Hi, my name is Kaya Keck. My son is a student at Grant Elementary here in Salem, and I would like to talk about some recent instances that happened at the school that has led me to be very disappointed with Salem-Keizer. My son was withheld a lunch on a field trip, and I was told that he was going to need to have to share it with another student or have to wait till he got back to school because the teacher and the bus driver didn't want to give it to him, said they couldn't. And then getting back to the school, my son was also withheld from me, checking him out, to take him home so we could have a proper meal. I was denied custody of my son's school, or of my son from his school. I have been told by numerous people we're going to do better, things of that sort. But where I'm disappointed is the district is asking for more money from us to help. But my bare minimum requirements for my son is not being met. And the lack of communication that the school has done from my son being assaulted last year by another student, I was never contacted. And my husband was informed at the end of day where this happened at lunch. I am very disappointed. I've been trying to reach out to the superintendent since then, and I've been denied every single time. Communication needs to be better. I know there's a lot going on, but I'm very disappointed, and I'm repulsed, honestly. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Kaya. Thanks, everyone, for your time and sharing your comments for this portion. Sorry, yes, we have you on the budget hearing,
Budget?
so we'll go ahead and, we have two public comment portions on the agenda right now, so we'll close this one up, and then we'll go into the budget hearing portion, and I have you there, yes. Okay. So that actually, we'll go ahead and do a 10-minute break, our folks.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. We have a 10-minute break, then we'll jump into the budget hearing, which is where we have the budget hearing public comment portion. So we'll resume at, I can't see, 7 o'clock? Oh, no, sorry, 6:53. That clock is different. All right, all right, all right. Thanks, everyone. We will go ahead and reconvene, and we'll transition at this point into the 2024-25 budget hearing. So officially opened, and I'll hand it to Superintendent Castañeda for a brief summary of the 24-25 budget, if you may.
Thank you. As we've been discussing this, certainly for the last few months and in many ways for the whole year, I'll open this hearing by thanking the Budget Committee as a whole, because it wasn't just the hours at this dais, it was all of the other hours that you put in. And Catherine, I see you in the audience. Thank you for being here. I know you and many others put in a lot of hours to read it, to understand it, to ask good questions. And so tonight, the way that we will open the hearing is actually by addressing some of the questions that were part of our last discussion. For those of you who are following along online, you can find a document that is 4 pages long in our board materials. And I'm going to very quickly introduce some of the key points here. In our final budget committee meeting, there were some really important questions about the organizational chart, about administrative staffing in general, and about the size of what we were calling back office, but what I think I would kind of more generally characterize as any of the services that are not directly allocated to schools, things that are involved with just making the system run operationally. So we're going to walk you through some of that information. I will do it verbally in a way that will allow anyone to follow along, but if you follow along, I'm going to start with the first page, which is the org chart. This is very small to fit on one page, but it is readable, especially if you're on a device. And what we present here is an organizational chart that accomplishes several things. First, it shows every department in the organization in the general reporting structure. People have been asking for that. Here it is. The second thing that it does is tie our staffing directly to the budget book. So anyone who wishes to find their way between a part of our organization and where the staffing is in the budget book can now do it because the functions are listed and because there's a code system that allows you to know which funding sources the staff come from. And then finally, it shows you 2 things, which is both the number of supervisors and also the number of staff in that unit. We hope that this helps bring a little bit more transparency and clarity to the structure of the organization beyond just the structure of schools, which many of us are familiar with. The second page, what we're bringing you is some data to attempt to answer 2 questions. The first is about the level of our administrator staffing. And then the second is about the size of our back office services. So we'll start with administrator staffing. I'm going to actually just go the slight extra effort here and define what we mean when we say administrator. In this information, what we mean is people who have supervisory responsibilities. So what you can see here is that we've brought you the 9 largest districts in Oregon. And we're showing you 3 different ways to look at our administrator staffing levels. I'm going to just, for the purposes of transparency, exclude Beaverton from my verbal summary because they have a very different way of calculating staff, which makes them, I don't know how they compare exactly. So, but the others all use FTE exactly the same way we do. And in summary, what you can see is that if you compare the number of administrators we have to our enrollment, of the 8 largest districts, Salem-Keizer has got the largest number of students to each administrator. Or said in reverse, we have the lowest number of administrators of the 8 largest districts if you consider it as a function of enrollment. The next thing we're showing you is the administrators per staff. And because we're showing you supervisors, this is one of the more important measures. What supervisors tend to do is oversee a span of staffing. And you can see that we have, of the 8 largest districts, excluding Beaverton, we have the highest rate of staff to each administrator. Or said the other way, we have the lowest administrative staffing rates by that measure too, of the 8 largest districts. The final way that we're showing you is percentage of administrators of the workforce. We have the lowest percentage of administrators of the workforce. We hope that this brings some additional clarity to the steady conversation about us being outsized proportionately and outsized ethically. It is actually the case that there is not a single measure on this page that tells that story. Every measure on this page tells the story that when compared to our peer districts in Oregon, we have the leanest back office and leanest administrative structure. We don't offer that to ask for anything, to suggest anything, or even rebut anything. We offer it because the Budget Committee and the board asked for this information, and we do think it's important to be clear about this. The third table that we show you is showing our back office functions. So think of these as functions, not just supervisors, but staff providing services that are not directly in schools. Of the back office functions that are part of the State Department budget account coding system, when we compare to Portland and Beaverton, and again, Beaverton is an outlier because they do use a different method. We are the lowest back office staffing in 6 of 10 areas. And in general, if you're looking at this, you can see that what we see is Portland being the highest. This is unsurprising because Portland has the largest local option levy in the state. They have over $100 million a year in revenue to spend on people that most districts don't have, and we certainly don't. So again, the story is, generally speaking, the same in this second chart. We are not higher. We are not bigger. We are not bloated. We are all running lean. And there's no good that comes from competing in the challenges of being lean. There is good that comes from looking for ways that we can work together in the future to overcome the fiscal story that just this snapshot tells. We need more resources as a system. If we have more resources as a system, we'll be able to tell a different story, especially in schools. But this is our reality today. The final chart shows expenditure information, and this shows where we're spending our money, all funds. It's based on the 22-23 year, which is the most recent year that we have finalized data. And what you can see here is that our actual spending, which is the most important measure, 11% of all funds are spent outside of buildings. 89% are spent in buildings in what's called student-related supports. These are ODE accounting categories. And so when many of you have heard us or me say virtually all of our money is in people and virtually all of our people are in buildings, this is what we mean. 93% of this year's general fund will be spent on people. And across all funds, almost 90% of our people are in buildings. We are doing our best to keep our resources where they matter most. And we agree with the speakers who say that that is an important move, not just for students and staff, but for the stewardship of the system. We hope this data helps answer some of those questions. And with that, I think I will turn it over for comments or questions by the board.
Thank you so much. I don't really have a question, but just more a comment. I want to express my gratitude to the superintendent and the team. I know that Bob Silva spent a lot of time looking for the benchmarking against the top 10 districts. And I I just really greatly appreciate that. I know it was a lot of effort, and that I'm sure my questions and prodding and pleading is not always welcome, but I do really think it helps me to understand, the full board to understand, and the budget committee and the public to understand exactly what we're talking about when we make statements like we're running a pretty lean operation administratively. And I also want to say, obviously, because we're in such a austere budget scenario right now, I think the board and the budget committee were trying to really do our due diligence to make sure that all of the decisions that were made, really did the deep dive into these types of the categories and the functions to really suss out what we could live with and what would have to be reduced. And through the conversations in the last month or few weeks, I feel really confident that the process was very thoughtful. It does not mean the pain that we are experiencing or the pain that individuals are experiencing that have received layoff notices or transfers isn't real, but I do feel like after detailed and in-depth conversations with a number of you and the superintendent after the last budget committee, I feel like I understand more and am more clear, and I just wanted to put that on the record and voice my appreciation. I think these types of detailed conversations are going to be critical all throughout the next year as the next budget gets built, and I'm looking forward to continuing at this level of depth. I'm sorry to probably a lot of your chagrin, but it's important to me to get this kind of detail, and I really, really appreciate it.
Thank you, Director Chenegary.
Yeah, thank you, Chair, and thank you, Superintendent. We went through a lot of challenges with the pandemic and everything that came our way. That was tough. But, seeing a reduction in staffing kind of breaks my heart, to be honest. Now, having said that, this is a very trying, difficult time. It's almost like a chronic anemia. Somebody with a chronic anemia, you make them run a few laps and you keep adding more and more challenges on them. Soon their systems are going to give way. So trying to kind of juggle these two was the biggest challenge I saw. And so a couple of things are really important we heard. And I'm glad President Taylor from SKEA said moving forward, we have to take something off the plate of everybody, including administrators, in order for us to not only able to sustain, but also to kind of think in terms of make sure we do due diligence. In the end, we are dealing with children, all your children. So we need children-facing staff, teachers and staff who are working in the building. But we also need administrators and managers who are staff-facing and also facing the various regulators who have not stopped asking for data, information, reports. Because without that, the revenue will be affected, just like attendance will affect our revenue. So, but we need to have accurate reporting, otherwise we won't get the revenue. So the question I have is, if we are so lean in administrative level, are we able to sustain the reporting requirements of various regulatory agencies, whether it's federal, state, local, etc.? And the second part of it is there a plan to start thinking through how do we become laser focused on the board goals and try to ask if we had enough resources, we could do this, but at this point in time, what should we be focused on so that we will be a little bit more realistic in calibrating. That's what I would like to ask the superintendent.
I think there's two answers to your first question, and I too am going to go back to Tyler's comments. Next year is going to feel different. It's going to feel different in classrooms. It's going to feel different in the district team too, because when we contract and we try to do so much, it does stretch people sometimes to a breaking point, but it also stretches the quality of our work in ways that might compromise things that we know need to be prioritized. So I thank her for her comments and share some of her feelings about that. Your question is about core compliance, and we will make sure that core compliance is a priority. I mean, there are many, many ways that compliance falls on a school district, almost an uncountable number of ways, and from all angles. I don't think that we have or ever will be a flawless district when it comes to compliance, but it must be a priority because it is a core function of a central office team. And if we have to make compromises in other areas, we will do so, but I do believe we have the plans we need to continue the excellent work of the district. Your second question is about prioritizing the board goals, and I appreciate you raising this because the results policy, the 5 goals you laid out as a board, establish a very clear vision for success in our district. And it's not merely clear, it's incremental. It says every year, this is what success looks like. And the sum total of sense of belonging and attendance and third grade reading and all of the other measures really is a broad and well-drawn picture of success. We did our best to make reductions that protected those to the degree possible, but reductions at the scope we made doesn't protect anything entirely. And so I do think that it's a year to work on focus, and through our deputy superintendents and level directors, they have been, making sure that our school plans are a little bit leaner and focused on the goals you guys have set for us. I think that the longer term work is about making sure that when, through our advocacy, revenue rebounds, we're making goal-aligned investment decisions.
Can I just ask a follow-up question, or rather a statement? Because our board goals are not just our wish. We really aligned our board goals with a longitudinal growth plan, which has a financial or a fiscal impact will have a fiscal impact, if I remember right, on that. Every year we said we will improve by certain percentage. So there's a revenue implication to the board goals, if I remember right. So that's one reason I wanted to kind of raise that question and how we can be laser focused. As a corollary moving forward, if equity becomes a very important lens, I have raised this question earlier, at least in the next 3 to 5 years, is there a possibility of finding ways in which we can budget differently so that the dollar follows the child, what you refer to as student-based budgeting? Because right now the revenue seems to follow the different indicators of equity, but when it comes to expenses, it's so hard to understand from the budget book. So moving forward, I know it's not possible in the next year or even this year, but moving forward, then we can start ensuring that we have this whole equity ladder across from the, throughout the K-12, are we allocating resources to follow the child as they progress to the 12th grade? Or is it like hit and miss? I don't know if my question makes sense.
I think the heart of your question is, might we consider in the future a student-driven approach to distributing the money we get as a district out to schools? I think that might be what you mean when you say the money follows the student.
The money and we use weightage for revenue, but does the dollar expenses also follow the same weightage? I'm not able to understand based on the project.
I think it's an interesting prospect. Let's go back briefly to the budget book. When 93% of your most important fund is spent on people, what it really means is that the way that schools get staffing is almost all of the money that there is to spend. And that is, to a certain degree, that does follow the student because it's built on staffing plans. Those are built on enrollment. There are important things that districts can do to recognize the demands of equity and different demographics within a school, and to increase principal sense of control and ownership over their budgets. I think there are things we can do there, and a movement to student-based budgeting would be a very bold move for our district. And in my experience, it does not take less than 5 years to fully implement, because it starts with years of training of staff, and especially building leaders, about how they manage million-dollar budgets. And that's what it looks like done well.
Thank you. Other questions or comments before we move on to the public comment portion? Long pause. No. I just want to say on the materials, it's helpful to see the visual. I mean, we are a big organization. I do want to say thanks to Ashley for, I think, just, the follow-up on this portion. And it's hard to see where we fall and, in comparison, and to recognize and be in the situation that we've been this year, right, where we're still thinning out. And it just makes it doesn't make it any easier. It just makes it hard. And I think it just puts how drastic a need for change is in front of us even more so. All right, we'll go ahead and jump into public comment for the budget hearing portion. Thanks to folks who have been patiently waiting with us. We will, where's my list? Okay. For this portion, we have 4 speakers slated, and I won't go through the whole process, but it's the same process. Timer's on the screen, and we have, I think, some folks in person and at least one person virtually. And Rob Owen, you're first, followed by Brody Smith.
My name is Rob Owen, parent to 2 students on IEPs. Since Salem-Keizer announced job and position cuts in May, there have been few answers about how the district intends to keep its commitments to special education students. This morning we had the last IEP meeting of the year for my oldest son, and we asked who will do the work of the laid-off BCBA, Board Certified Behavior Analyst, whose efforts were instrumental in empowering my 14-year-old to access the least restrictive educational environment. No one from the district had an answer. On May 22nd, I sent a list of questions to the superintendent, and unlike on the 2 occasions when I emailed her predecessor, the current superintendent did not respond. My husband also wrote to the superintendent after the cuts were announced. Again, no response. The parent leader of the Special Education Parents Advisory Council, whose meetings the current superintendent has been invited to but never attended, wrote to group members last week saying, "Unfortunately, I haven't been able to get many of my systematic questions answered by the district." Prior to the May cuts, Director of Mental Health and Social Emotional Learning, Chris Moore, announced a new acute health and safety initiative. But few who work in special ed know what the new initiative entails, and some were not even aware of it. One person working in special ed told me, "It seems like we are just recreating what already exists without the leadership of people who are truly trained in behavior." While I feel like Don Quixote tilting at windmills, I'm still going to place these questions before you and in your email inboxes in hopes someone from the district will respond. Why were the BCBAs laid off rather than shifting them to the staff of the Acute Health and Safety Initiative? What kind of behavior-specific training and qualifications are required for the new staffing positions on the Acute Health and Safety team? How will the Acute Health and Safety Response team change behavior within the district, or will it just put out fires without any real positive long-term impact? With special ed instructional mentors cut, who will train school teams to ensure they understand students' behavior plans and the supports needed? The district will spend $20,000 on consultants to recruit a new special ed director, but can Salem-Keizer really hope to entice a highly qualified SPED director to join a district with no BCBAs? The departure of SPED director Melissa Glover suggests she was frustrated with those above her in district leadership. Will the district hire a replacement who will work on behalf of students, families, and special educators, or will the priority be to find someone who appeases district leadership? Until the school board can answer these questions and understand the impact of these cuts on special education, how can you possibly pass a budget in good faith? Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Robbo. We have Brody, and then we have Jane Tichenal, who is in person. Here you
Good evening, board members.
go. You can pull it towards you. There you go.
There we go. Good evening, board members and superintendent. My name is Brody Smith. I'm here before you today to talk about the recent shutdown of McNary's AFJOTC unit. I had the privilege of being this year's Kitty Hawk commander. Kitty Hawk is a nationally scholastic team dedicated to serving the unit and community. The value this program holds exceeds the base value of numbers in a algorithm. At this point in my life, I have not found a single program that makes the same bonds AFJOTC makes. We provide structure and support to the students who desire it, allowing them to grow and flourish into upstanding members of the community. We've also updated our uniform policy to be as inclusive as possible to cadets who don't want to wear the uniform every Monday. With changes like the one I just mentioned, we were slotted to have a 23% increase in cadets compared to this year. A petition was made online within the last 10 days to bring this unit back to McNary, and currently we are at over 200 signatures, with 100 of those coming from within the first day. For those that choose to, each cadet is asked to complete so many hours of community service per year, starting with 15 in their freshman year, or their first year when they join the program, and 30 if they end up doing all 4 years. Despite common misconceptions, we are not strictly a military program. We are a cadet-led leadership program that teaches cadets how to lead and serve others. We do this by assisting the community. A perfect example of us assisting the community would be the yearly cleaning of the city hall we do. We also helped build the Grange, which is a local hangout spot for McNary students and others. We also are actively involved in McNary's culture by assisting them during events such as the football games, track meets, and assemblies. This past year, we attended our very first competition since the shutdown of COVID-19, and we ended up winning an award. At the end of the year, we held a formal military ball, which was completely held and planned by the cadets within the unit. Thanks to the value the unit strives to instill in each of its cadets, I've grown and matured in ways that I and my family didn't expect. I'm asking for the reinstatement of our 2 instructors, Master Sergeant Martin Vinnes and Senior Master Sergeant Hammond's salary, so that we can continue to grow as active members of our community and of our local community, and also prepare myself and other cadets for our future. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak tonight. I hope you all enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you, Brody. And we have Jane and then Kimberly. Hi, hello. I really didn't write too much, but what I want to say is thank you so much for all of your work and your energy and your dedication this year. As a parent sort of new to this conversation, learning about everything, I think it is easy to blame and point fingers, but frankly, I think that's kind of a lazy approach to the wider issue at hand. And I would really just encourage, hopefully parents are watching, hopefully our community is watching. It's interesting to see so much like conversation online. I know a lot of people have things to say, but when it comes down to it, showing up, we need more people to show up. Our kids need parents and our community members to show up. I also really wanted to take a moment to advocate for our early childhood program for Head Start and for Preschool Promise. The last I heard was that a lot of the licensed teachers were
were cut. So apologies if that was reinstated. But these are the hardest working women I have ever seen. Our preschool promise and Head Start programs literally lay the foundation for our students and for their families. And I would just really urge this committee to make sure that also the leadership of those programs also reflect the values, I think, moving forward. And so I hope that those teachers know that someone out here is advocating for them, and that this board does see them. But anyways, yeah, so just encouraging parents, again, if anybody is listening, now is the time. Now is the time to act. Now is the time to pay attention. Now is the time to vote. Now is the time to talk to our friends and family. The future of education in our nation and in Oregon is on the line. These are the conversations that we're having, and next year our kids and our teachers and our families are really going to feel it. And so I just hope that we're able to prepare for that and prepare together for that. So that's it. I just thank you all again, and I appreciate your time.
Thank you. Thank you, Jane, and I will have Kimberly.
Good evening, Salem-Keizer School Board student representatives, superintendent, cabinet directors. I'm Kimberly Reed-Zauber, she, her, ella, and I think I owe everybody a little bit of an apology because I think I originally signed up to speak about the budget, and then I got so excited because Karma from my school was coming to speak to you tonight. So I guess I'm speaking about Karma, and I might be in the wrong part of the agenda. My apologies.
I appreciate you being with us.
I love Parrish, by the way. You just heard from an active, involved global citizen at Parrish. Karma took it upon herself to advocate for underserved students in our district, to speak out against inequitable access to education suffered by our Indigenous students. She's already spoken at 2 events, and she even prepared a petition with the same call for change. For Indigenous studies to be made a required part of Salem-Keizer's social studies curriculum beyond the ODE lessons, to collaborate with local tribes and Indigenous educators, provide supplementary materials to include in other subjects, and a deliberate, sustained effort to provide supports to improve Indigenous students' access to education. 203 staff and students at Parrish and North signed her petition. 58 staff and 145 students, and that was just in 2 days. I suspect we haven't seen the last of that petition. I hope we haven't. So a few months back, I told you all that you need to take some time to listen to your teachers, but I was only half right. It's time to listen to students. This justice and equity mindset, this confidence to speak up when things are wrong, constructive outrage, or what our superintendent called the hope and the courage to make a better place of our community. This is what happens when people are allowed the support and the tools that they need to act on their core beliefs. So these people, our students, are incredible, and they do incredible things when they have what they need to succeed, or to excel, rather. Still, we aren't providing enough of it. We aren't allowing our schools and educators the time and tools that they need to create an environment for all students to achieve this kind of excellence. Every student should have the chance to do what Karma does. Of course, we're already in this financial hole. It's a couple decades in the making. We may have to lower spending for the time being, but I would challenge you as we move forward to prioritize our students and their success. That means what their schools and educators need to support it as well. I challenge you to truly put students first and listen to Karma. She knows what she's talking about.
Thank you so much, Kimberly, and And thank you, everyone, for, I'd say, both portions of public comment. And I do just want to echo, it is always my highlight, I'll speak for myself, to hear from young folks and from our students. It's a huge demonstration of the work that is happening. Okay, got lost on the agenda. I think at this portion, we move into our action items. Well, we officially close the budget hearing with the public comment portion, and we'll transition now onto our action items on the agenda. And the first item on here is adopting resolution number 2023-24-9. It's adoption and appropriation of the 2024-25 budget and impose the categorized taxes for 2024 through 25. I will hand this back over to Superintendent Castañeda. Is there anything else that we want to cover on this matter before we move for motions and discussion?
Just a clarification, given the many things that are going on around the talk of funding, to say that this is the routine part. These two, this action item happens every year. There's no change in the way that it functions, and no change to the way that it impacts either revenue or taxes.
Great. At this portion, we'll go ahead and I'll open the floor up for a motion to adopt the resolution.
I move that, I will support a motion if that's
All right.
okay.
Director Chandraguri moves,
And I'll second that motion.
and Director Harnish, I know first name. I was gonna say. Director Harnish seconds. Do we have discussion on this matter? You want to go,
I might
Dr. Hudson?
wait and say it later, but I'm just not sure. If I can say the reason why I'm in a vote, or will the vote be time after?
If you have questions, comments, discussion is now open, so.
So I'm going to state the reason why I'm going to vote no on the budget. I struggled with this a lot, and internally, ethically, I don't know. I think there's a lot that's right. I don't comprehend a couple things left over. I don't know why I'm not sure why certain things like our Department of Student Equity is, I think, over $1.5 million spent there. And I'm not sure that can't be reduced down a little bit more to keep more teaching positions when I count how many teaching positions could come out of that. I don't know if there's discrepancy on legislation, what we have to do or not. That is the piece that's not fully clear to me. But that just seems like a lot of money that seems, again, like it could be slimmed down and put into some other areas. So I'm just gonna leave it at that, but I just wanted to share. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Director Hudson. Other comments, questions?
Chair, I have.
Director Chandraguri?
Yeah, thank you very much, Chair, and thank you, Superintendent, and my fellow board directors, budget committee members. This is a tough kind of catch-22 dilemma that I believe we are facing with this budget. There's like a chronic anemic funding and various other challenges. But with whatever little revenue we had and the way we discussed, and we are also facing a lot of other challenges that come with this budget and with the financial reality. That's a reduction in force, and which is adding to the pain of what is going on. And when I kind of looked and reflected on this, with the existing structural reality of following the law, following the contractual regulations, and trying to stay focused to some of the board goals or, third grade reading and graduation, etc. I feel having sat through lots of meetings, both in the executive meeting and public meeting, and trying to understand even, I think our district has done a good job, a thorough due diligence. I was paying attention to that. And I was really paying attention to also to make sure as much as possible there is minimal disparate impact on some of our hard-hit staff, hard to recruit staff, or staff with various different skill set. And so, and then there has been an unbelievable amount of transparency. At least I have asked questions, spent a lot of hours trying to learn, ask hard questions. And the level of communication that I've found in this, I have not seen it in any other industry, to be honest, in any other sectors in this country or the previous places I've worked when there is a reduction in force, where the level of sensitivity that the district has paid to each and everybody, trying to literally respect different wishes of how the communication should happen. And then they have taken steps to rethink and kind of literally evaluate each and every decision that came up, each and every grievances that came up, and try to manage what I call this enormous grief that all of us are going through, and especially when teachers are leaving and staff are leaving, and they've minimized it to 100 in such a big organization. So it is hard, but they have done their best in this budget. Moving forward, I really hear our SKEA President Tyler's mentioning, and also our superintendent has said we are going to be revisiting this issue in less than a year again, or we'll keep revisiting. It's almost like a patient with chronic anemia. One time we had a blood transfusion of COVID funds, but that's not going to sustain. So we really have to think differently. And I really ask the state leaders to really do a costing study. What does it cost to educate a child so that they can graduate, they can learn by 3rd grade or graduate in 4 years? I still haven't got a straight answer anywhere. I went all the way to the ODE and asked this question. And especially when so many other things have been piled on. Somebody in the public comment, was it Karma, who mentioned the indigenous study? That is Senate Bill 13. In 2010 or so, I believe that bill was passed. That is an example of how a lot of layers and layers of unfunded requirement or expectation has been added. So as much as it is painful, it breaks my heart to see what's going on with the emails that I read and the stories I hear in the streets or families. I will be supporting this budget. I'll be voting in favor of it, because we need to kind of move on and then see how we can rethink moving forward, keeping our students and their education and safety as a core focus. And it'll probably require us to pare down and be a little bit laser focused, fiscally prudent, and think through, saying the new reality doesn't have to be a repeat of what went on before. We may be able to come out much better as things change. We may be able to start saying, okay, how do we design this forward? That's what I'm hoping. Because the old reality wasn't completely, I was satisfied with it, to be honest. We can do better. We have amazing faculty, and we have amazing families and students. So hopefully everybody will join hand and help us move forward with kind of reimagining how we can redesign from this difficult moment we have faced, so that we don't keep repeating it again and again. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Chandaguri. Any others?
Thank you, Chair. I just want to take a quick moment to speak to all the people across the district whose jobs have been impacted or they've received terrible news of a layoff. I think probably none of us on the school board ran for school board to be in a situation where we have to reduce things within our district and to impact people's lives in this manner. My guess is we all ran for these positions because we want to expand programming for our kiddos and improve their lives and to support our educators and everyone who dedicates their lives to making our schools in Salem-Keizer the best they can possibly be. We hear you, we've been hearing from you, and that matters. And I appreciate people coming tonight and always to share with us. It really does make an impact and influences our thinking. And, it's a very difficult position to be in, but not nearly as difficult as it is for the individuals whose lives are dramatically impacted right now. And so my offer I've made to the community is that, keep reaching out. I want to sit down with you and hear from you, hear about your experience in the district, and I will work tirelessly to ensure your voice is incorporated in the budget build for next year, and that we stay laser focused, as Director Chandragiri mentioned earlier, on our board goals and our community, and then just echoing also what our union president said around pivoting to what can we do to better fund public education in our community. I will support this budget, but I also will be spending a whole heck of a lot of my energy during the long legislative session coming up, ensuring that our state school fund is fixed and that the kids of Salem-Keizer and the workers in Salem-Keizer are not shortchanged, because as things currently stand, they are. And it's unacceptable, and it's our job to advocate very loudly to fix the funding situation for this district. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, I'm not seeing others. I'll just be brief, and it's kind of bittersweet to be at this moment where we have, I think, the final vote on this budget that we've been talking about for the entire year. And we know it's not enough. We know that it doesn't meet the needs of our students, our staff, our families, community in the way that we know we all deserve. But nonetheless, I do believe that we've made the difficult and necessary decisions to stop the bleed, right, to close the gap, the financial gap, which we also know has become increasingly the story of many other districts across the state and across the nation. And that picture wasn't quite clear when we started this conversation, but I think we've been able to build that empathy also and just, with each other as we moved through this year in the conversation. I do look forward for the year ahead. I look forward to the advocacy at the state level, at the local level, to focus on improving and providing equitable funding for our schools. And I think most importantly, I truly, truly hope that we can come together, see the humanity in each other, that we can see the shared frustration, and that comes from a place of care and knowing that we deserve good, that our children deserve better, and that we can stand side by side as we move through this next phase, this next process, because I think we can all agree that our children, our students, our family, and our community deserves to belong, and they deserve to excel, as we heard earlier. So I'll keep it at that for hope. It seems to be the theme tonight. All right, so we have a motion, and we'll go ahead and do a vote at this point. All those in favor of adopting the resolution as proposed, do I need to read again? You do. Okay. Do I have a motion to adopt the resolution number 2023-24-9 which is adoption and appropriation of the 24-25 budget and impose and categorize taxes for the 2024-25 as proposed. All those in favor, please raise your hand and say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, that's 6. And all those opposed, please raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. All right, that's that. Just take a deep breath, y'all. Thank you. And thank you to our budget committee member, Catherine, who was joining us this evening as well. All right, we'll go to the approval of the 2023-24 superintendent evaluation. For this portion, I'll just make a quick statement. I think we just want to make sure that we publicly stated the outcome, the process and the outcome essentially of the superintendent evaluation. This was a short-term evaluation based on the short-term goals agreed upon in conjunction with the board and the superintendent. So the timeline of this was different than our usual superintendent evaluation. Superintendent Castañeda came in on July 1st of 2023, and so this evaluation was for the period of July 1st through the end of December, as a measurement and evaluation of those short-term goals. And I think we can, there's a copy of this in our board packet, so that's available for anyone who wants to read. But more than anything, just want to take the moment to appreciate the work that Superintendent Castañeda has put forth in this entire year. But if we speak to what the evaluation period was, it was a time to jump in and learn. I mean, dissect the budget book, dissect the policies, meet with dozens of educators, meet with administrators, doing school walkthroughs. I mean, I think it was obvious to us the commitment to our community, the commitment to coming in and learning, the commitment to mapping a large and complex system. And even in that period of time, I think many of us learned from you as well, right? Like your interpretation, your read on it, and super grateful for that time and energy. That was the beginning of a difficult year, but also through that time, just the communication, the ongoing, transparent, timely with all of us. I mean, spending hours a week and on the weekends to discuss, as we were navigating labor negotiations at this time, as we were starting to think ahead around the budget and what that might mean, as we were talking about just internal policies and whatnot. So just so much happened in this short period of time, and I just wanted, on behalf of the board, to express gratitude and appreciation for your time with us and for diving in and swimming along in this wild sea with us. Go ahead, Director Richardson.
I just want to thank you, Superintendent. You have gone up and beyond the call of duty. I've been an educator over 44 years, and I've never seen the type of expectations put on you that have been put on you. You inherited a bad situation, but you never complained. You took the work, and no matter what we asked of you, you and your team have done an outstanding job of providing us with all of the information we need to move forward with this budget. And I want to thank each and every one of you for all the hours that you put in on top of your regular job and duties that you had to do. You are outstanding, and I thank each and every one of you.
Director Chandagiri.
Thank you, Chair, and Superintendent Castaneda, thank you very much. We are really blessed to have you become our district superintendent. Our children are lucky and the families are lucky. I really appreciate your style of transparent, open dialogue. I've learned, I probably got so much more time and ability to kind of process and think through and learn from you. You became the teacher of the entire community. I just want you to know that. You literally built the skill set. When I walk in the streets, they talk about end fund balance and this and that. I mean, I've never heard those kind of words being used in the streets of this city. And that's the level. So you are not only a teacher for this, that's something you have done. You brought our community together through all this. I have no other way to explain it. Your style of leadership is an amazing lesson for all of us. Not only our community, you brought the state legislatures from both to pass a unanimously, both in Senate and House, a bill that you came up with. You lead by example. You head towards the problem, not away from the problem. That's what I really felt was your style. And you kind of take on the challenge and say, all right, we are heading towards the problem. And that was really impressive in more than one occasion. I don't want to keep listing. Most importantly, you saved us from a potential financial, I want to be honest, almost like a disaster, a financial insolvency situation in such a large district. And to understand the problem, you recognized it, then the way you engaged everybody. We went through a very painful process, but you stayed with that grief and you kind of helped us. And today, the president of SKEA's statement was a beautiful way to kind of sum up. And I really appreciate you writing that article, the op-ed, with the both union leaders in Oregonian, which really captures the what we call restorative. That's what you practiced from a point of view of where we started to where we ended. So I really appreciate you selecting our district, and our children are going to be in a good track moving forward. We had to go through this, but eventually I'm very confident that your leadership style and what you bring and the way you bring everybody together, we will all push the car in the same direction. Before we were pushing, but not in the direction we wanted. So thank you for doing that.
Go ahead, Ashley.
Chair, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the 2023-24 superintendent evaluation.
I'll second that.
All right, we have a first from Second Vice Chair Kirsten Cunningham and a second from, who's that, Director House Pressy?
I'll second it.
Fight it out. Director Richardson takes, Vice Chair Richardson takes the win. All right. Thank you for that. I mean, folks were kind of jumping on discussion, but is there anything else that folks would like to say at this time before we move on to a vote? I was trying to keep it short, but we're a little ahead of schedule, and so I'm just gonna let Superintendent Castañeda take the praise and the appreciation, which she does not. If anyone else wants to jump in.
I'll just say a huge appreciation to the superintendent for leadership and guidance over this last year. I know I've only been on the board for a couple of months, but I've been watching for years, but particularly this last year. And I have seen both from my role as a director, but then also as a community member. And I can't think of anybody better to lead us in the direction that we need to go. So thank you for your leadership and your support and your enthusiasm for our district and our children. We're the most important piece of our district.
I echo what many of the my fellow board members have said, and I'll just say thank you for putting up with me. I know I can be a pain in your side, so I appreciate you sticking with me.
Student Advisor Papas.
I think as a student, it's really important to have your voice get heard, and I feel like when adults have positions of leadership, it's scary to talk to them, and it's scary to feel that maybe they're not going to understand your perspective, but I've had the privilege of working alongside you, and I have had the privilege of seeing you answer students' questions with a lot of passion and a lot of respect, and you're not scared, because I know a lot of students can sometimes come off really strong, and that's a beautiful thing about students. But you're always there to listen, and you're always there to make sure their questions get answered. And I feel like that's a beautiful trait you have. but I think your passion is seen, and I really appreciate who you are as an individual and what you bring to our district. So thank you.
Thank you, Linda, for that.
I have been called to also say something. I didn't feel like I needed to add on to or really had much to say differently, but I do really appreciate all the work that you've been putting in. The fact that you came into this district even knowing the difficulties that would lie ahead, I think also really speaks to the kind of leader that you are, that you are very ready to dig into any issue that you see and you face, and you don't shy away from it, and you also don't push off the responsibility on others, although maybe sometimes that can be to your detriment.
Ditto.
Thank you. Linda, those were wonderful words, and they're very true, because I've seen that on multiple occasions too. And I don't mean to sound cheesy, but it really is true. The first time I saw you, and I think I told you this compliment, a lot of the things I'm gonna say, I've told you lots, but it struck me the first time I saw you communicate with a student, and no matter what age, you instantly have this bonding ability. You can talk at their level and entertain at their level, and it was pretty awesome. Kids are the best, and so anyway, so that was very awesome to see that fit. That's like my life satisfaction, to see everyone in the place that they should be, and so thank you for that. And I've told people lots. They say, "Oh, she's smart, this and that." Yeah, she's a hard worker. She works 7 days a week, all the time. She tries to answer everyone everything. I know it doesn't always seem that way on the outside as far as the feedback. But as, again, I mentioned, to wrap this up a little, I do think what I shared the other day, if you remember, is true, that I think if many or most others, I'm just going to say it, superintendents, I think we would have crashed all the way into the ground. And so I hope you don't mind me sharing that you had mentioned once you felt like it was your calling. And from that aspect, doing that hard work, you cover everything that's humanly possible. You can't, it's a huge district, and I know in smaller districts, superintendents are able to be everywhere at once, and you do your very, very best to be. And so I look forward to continuing to see how those kinks get worked out. And geez, what happens next year. So thank you.
Thank you. We're going to hand it to Patrick for the closing of our comments. We see you. Go ahead.
Yeah, hi. Before I begin, I just want to apologize. There are dogs barking, there's construction going on, there's music, so there's a lot in the background, so my apologies in advance.
We can hear you clearly, just so you know.
Oh, perfect. I think all I want to say with what Linda said before about the hard work that our superintendent has brought into the district, I don't know if you guys all recall, but earlier this year with our board retreat, we were asked to submit pictures and that had something significant to us, that we found significant. And the picture I uploaded or shared was a picture of a butterfly. And I talked about how a butterfly has to adapt to its environment regardless of whether or not it will survive. And I just want to say that I personally believe that our superintendent it's just like a butterfly. She has been able to get through the thick and the rough. And she's done everything in her power to make sure that students are prioritized within our budget reductions and any decisions that our board has made. And I just want to take time and say that I totally appreciate everything she's done. I personally see her as a mentor. I'm sure Linda does as well. But I know that next year, me and Linda will not be we will not be on the board. But I trust that our superintendent and the board will make the right decisions in whatever is to come. And I know that everything that has been happening, I think we've dealt with correctly and professionally. And I also know that nothing is easy. challenges will come, and that is something that I have taken with me, or that I've learned on my time with the Salem-Keizer School Board. And yeah, I think that's all I had to share. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Patrick. And what a way to bring us kind of full circle there. So thank you. All right. Well, with that, we'll go ahead and take a vote. What does this motion read before Rebecca looks at me? All right. So all of those in favor of approving the 2023-24 superintendent evaluation, please raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
All right.
Aye.
Aye. Oh, we standing. Are we standing?
Yes.
Okay. We're saying thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, and thank you, Superintendent Castañeda. Welcome to almost officially a year on board. All right, let's go ahead and take a quick 10-minute recess. We're doing great on time, and it's been a busy agenda. We'll go ahead and take 10 minutes. It is 8:01, so let's do 8:10. Make it 9 minutes. right. Director Nojos Pressy, ready for a nap?
What? Why do I feel like you're bullying me today? You like looked right at me when you were like, it's great to have everyone in person. Now you're calling me out about how tired I am.
You're in front of the coffee, so I'm jealous.
I am in front of the coffee, and I'm the reason why the coffee pot is empty.
All right. Well, we're moving great on time, our team. So we are actually at, I'd say this is an exciting and always a very difficult portion of the agenda. But thank you to our students who have pushed through the evening and you're hanging out with us. So thank you. This is the final action item on our agenda today, and it is to appoint 2 student advisors to the school board for the 24-25 academic year. The board opened the application process from March 20th to April 18th and received a total of 5 applications. So welcome. We have Kaden, Aiden, Caleb, Sophia, Sydney with us this evening, and I'm omitting last names because I am well known to mispronounce everything, but I see you. Thank you. The board reviewed all applications and video interviews, submissions. Great job, y'all. And we'll actually be voting at this time. I do want to appreciate the time you took to submit applications, record videos. I know that that's a lot of work and dedication on your time. And I don't know, Superintendent Castañeda, if there's anything you wanted to add there, but I know you've been working very closely with these folks as well, these young leaders in our community.
I will only add that each of you is going to be spectacular in all of the things that you're doing. And for those of you who join the board, that's great. And for those of you who don't, there are going to be so many other leadership opportunities in our district this year. And as was said before, I really can't wait to see what you all are going to do.
Yes. This I just have to say it's uncomfortable because we like jump right into votes at this point. We have Rebecca, our counsel here, who's going to run our votes, and it's kind of a pretty cut and dry process. So we'll transition over into the dot.
You want to ask them to stand up and tell their name or yeah?
Are you all cool with that?
They've been sitting
Okay.
all day.
Yes, I appreciate that. I think so. They're nodding. They're in for it. But if you each want to come up and maybe y'all come up together and just introduce yourself and your name and then the school that you attend, that would be super helpful as well. We did see all of your faces are familiar to us, I will say, because some of us might have watched your videos multiple times. But it's nice to have you here. So welcome.
Hi, my name is Henry Baker, and I go to West Salem High School.
Hi, my name's Caleb Bartlett, and I attend Edge.
Hi, my name is Sydney Monarchy, and I go to West Salem High School.
Hi, my name is Sofia Castellanos, and I go to South Salem High School.
My name's Caden Armstead. I attend McKay High School.
Thank you. Well, thanks for being with us this evening, and you are welcome to take a seat while we go through this cut and dry process. I don't know how else to say it, y'all, but thank you. All right, Rebecca.
Okay. So good evening, directors. So the process will be, you have, after reviewing all the materials, probably 2 candidates that you are considering to be your top 2. So as we go through this, if you hear that Chair Guzman-Ortiz will vote first, if you hear that that's one of your 2, then go ahead and vote for that person so we can achieve 4 votes sooner, if that makes sense. So that will be the vote. Of course, if you're not going to vote for, you have a 3rd person, and of course vote for that person. But what we're looking for is 4 votes for each candidate, for each position, I should say, and we have 2 positions. So we'll start. Chair Guzman-Ortiz, which candidate would you like to vote for the first position?
Sofia Castellanos.
Okay. Vice Chair Richardson.
Sophia.
Vice Chair Carson Cunningham.
Sophia.
Director Chandra Giri.
Sydney Monarchy.
Director Harnish.
Sophia.
Director Nojos Pressy.
Sophia.
And Director Hudson? Yes.
Sydney.
Okay. All right, so in round one, that means that Sophia is the successful candidate. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Okay, now let's move to round two. So what that means is for the directors, please take Sophia out of your differential and vote for the second position. So Chair Guzman-Ortiz.
Kaden Armstead.
And Vice Chair Richardson.
Kaden Armstead.
And Vice Chair Carson Cunningham.
CJ Bartlett.
Director Chandra-Geary.
Sydney Monarchy.
Director Harnish.
Sydney Monarchy.
Director Noho Espressi.
Kaden.
And Director Hudson.
Sydney.
Okay, so in that round, we did not achieve 4 votes for a candidate. So what the directors could do is something similar to the ranked choice, where you are now looking at the 2 candidates that received 3 votes, which would be Kaden Armstead and Sydney Monarchy. Would you like to proceed there?
Yeah, I think it makes sense. Let's just try to narrow it down.
Okay, so in the third round, and this is the vote for the second position, the directors should be voting between Kaden Armstead and Sydney Monarchy. So Chair Guzman-Ortiz.
Kaden Armstead.
Vice Chair Richardson.
Kaden Armstead.
Vice Chair Carson Cunningham.
Kaden.
Director Chandra-Geary.
Sydney Monarchy.
Director Harnish.
Sydney Monarchy.
Director Noho Espressi.
Kaden.
Okay, and Director Hudson.
Sydney.
Okay, and so there are 4 votes for Kaden Armstead.
Congratulations, Kaden. Thank you, Rebecca, for running us through that. I just want to make a quick pause if folks, do you have comments? I know.
I just want to.
It's a hard one.
Yeah, it's such a hard thing, and all of your videos were awesome. All of your applications were awesome. It was really, really difficult decision, and like the superintendent said, you're all going to do amazing things. So don't let this get you down if you weren't selected. So thank you so much.
I would actually just like to say, too, perhaps we could entertain having more than 2 members, student members. I just want to say thank you to each one of you. The videos were amazing. Those are really challenging to do, at least I think they are, and you all rocked it. And I would echo everything that I hope, I know, actually, that you will continue to be a part of the leadership and be part of not only the board, but other community or committees in your schools, and you're making a difference. So thank you so much.
Director Harnish, I thought you were making a motion that we should increase.
I'd like to, but I don't.
Okay, so I second that.
We've done it before.
I second that. We had done that exactly same thing once we do. I really think it is a tough choice, and amazing way that all of you are amazing, and I wish we could have different ways. There's like a board advisory group or something like that. Or when there is a policy, we have a way of going and sitting down with you and having a cup of coffee and give us some directions in terms of how does this thing. Because in reality, even 2 student advisor cannot do justice to represent all the 39,000 or 38,000 students with so much voice. Because you still have to do your schooling, right? You still have to study. You can't just leave all that and keep going to every school and listening. So I think more student voice in different ways of policy making will be very much helpful. For me, at least I can speak for me as a single board director, I would love to see that when each time an action item comes up, if some of you can sit down and say this is what it means. Not that our student advisor won't do that, but it's always good to have different perspectives. Some of you have worked at a local level, at a national level, and different levels. So that's my hope, because more of our public get involved, more of students get involved. It's always good to have good policy, best policies where you have different voices. So that's what I would really ask you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I'm going to move us along. Okay.
Maybe just one. I'll be quick. You can time me.
All right, keep
20
it
seconds,
quick.
30 seconds. I just want to thank you. And maybe it's the mama in me, but I told you earlier, I know, but I am genuinely and sincerely so proud of each one of you. Honestly, you amaze me. And I really do hope, and I was thinking you, JROTC, back there, I was like, yeah, that would be super awesome if we had another group of little leaders in our district. Obviously, we need it. We need it in our state and our nation. So I really need each of you to continue to do what you're doing. Please, please, please. Thank you again so much for showing up. It means so much. Thank you.
Thank you. We don't get enough, I'll say that. I don't think we get enough youth voices in this room, but it's always really helpful, really eye-opening, and it just grounds us in why we're here as well. So just want to close. Thank you for applying, for your interest, for all the leadership that you are contributing to not only your schools, but our community. And we look forward to having you, Kaden, and Sophia join us next year up here on the dais. Well, I guess in a couple months, actually, we'll be bringing you on board. So congratulations, and thank you once more. Please. All right.
Salud, Patrick.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to move through to our consent calendar. Superintendent Castañeda, is there anything that you wish to provide further information or review on from this portion?
No, there's not. Thank you.
Okay. There's a lot of materials in this portion. They're included in our packets and available for anyone who wants to review online as well. So I would love to make a motion at this point, or if there's anyone who's interested in making a motion to approve the consent calendar.
I'd like to pull an item.
What item are you interested in pulling?
On the consent calendar, 7B. I think it's too important to, yeah.
7B, the LGBTQ2 SIA plus Pride Month proclamation.
Proclamation.
All right. 6B, right?
No, it's 7B.
7B. Consent?
Oh, okay, mine's fine, okay. No, you're fine, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, we called it. All right, so we'll go ahead and vote on the remainder items of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent calendar except items?
I move that we approve the consent calendar with the exception of item 7B.
I second.
Second, all right, all those in favor, if you'll please raise your hand and state aye.
Aye.
All right, that's a unanimous 7 for all except 7B. And Director Hudson, would you like to provide more information around why you've pulled that item or clarification?
Thank you. And I still promise to keep it short. Of course, there's a whole lot, always to be said. I just believe wholeheartedly that all of our children need to be lifted up. And I know we have a lot of proclamations, and we tend to follow the same proclamations. And it means a lot to my heart to allow more children to be lifted as well. And so this is a minute moment for me to be a voice for those kiddos that are just as precious to us. But it doesn't mean that I love any of these any less. So thank you.
All right. Director Hinojosa-Pressey.
I just wanted to say, and I mean, thank you, Director Hudson. I was going back and forth on whether or not I also wanted to pull this item just because I wanted to make sure to uplift our community. And I did just kind of wanted to take this moment, this point of privilege essentially, as a queer, disabled person of color, and just uplift this proclamation, share with everyone that it is Pride Month, and while there are no federal protections necessarily protecting this community, and the fight continues, I still want to make sure that we continue with joy and love in our hearts. I had the privilege of hearing from Maurice Mitchell a few years ago, and he shared some words that stick with me, and it's about how our ancestors all went through really difficult times, and still they found joy, and it happened again and again and again until we get to where you are. And so I hope that everyone gets to find joy, especially in this month. Thank you.
Thank you, Director
Chair.
Rose-Presley.
I would like to say something.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. For me, supporting this proclamation means a lot personally. And I would like to really dedicate this to the memory of Dr. John Fryer, who was my mentor, teacher, and father figure. He brought us to Temple University, Philadelphia in '96. We stayed in his home until we could find a place. He was a trailblazer in the gay rights movement for his famous speech in 1972 American Psychiatric Association Convention, which eventually led to removal of homosexuality as a diagnosis from DSM. He really practiced true inclusion and celebrated diversity. For me, it's celebration of sacredness of life. It takes courage to come out in front of family, friends, school, work, society at large. Even now, our youth from LGBTQ+ face challenges associated with minority stress. They get victimized, grapple with many different challenges, and a lack of sense of connectedness is one big common theme which leads to high risk. I want our youth to know that this nation belongs to you and you belong to our nation. You are our children, sibling, friends, family, as sector. We need to take steps. We must all take steps, including having policies and practices that improve the sense of connectedness of our LGBTQ+ youth with their families, with their school, with the community at large. I believe that is the vision we should be working towards. And hence, I will be supporting this. And I hope we take some concrete actions to bring the family along, because a lot of times what I find is there's a disconnect, and that's not safe for our children. So hopefully we take a look at our policies as we pass this resolution. Every year I have supported it, but let's take a look at our policies and make sure those three elements, the children feel a sense of belonging and connectedness, the family, with the school, with the friends, and the community at large. So thank you very much. I'll be supporting this resolution because of that.
Thank you, Director Chandragiri. I'll go ahead and move us at this point to a motion for, I guess that was what came first.
I will enthusiastically
All right.
make the motion to approve this amazing proclamation.
Thank you, Director Harnish first, and then Director Chandragiri second on this motion. All those in favor of approving item 7B, which is the LGBTQ2SIA plus Pride Month proclamation, please raise your hand and state aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, please raise your hand and state aye.
Aye.
Thank you. So that was, I don't know if I need to restate that for Stovin back there. You got it. Okay. Thank you all. We have the information standard reports at this point. I don't know, Superintendent, is there anything else that we want to highlight here?
Very briefly, I'll just highlight the graduation report. While there will be a more complete report when our formal grad rates are in, for now there's just so much to celebrate in there. And if you just take a moment to glance at it, you'll see that there is an enormous amount of success for our students, from our staff, and for our district.
Yeah. Seals of biliteracy, graduation numbers, scholarship dollars, it's incredible. Thanks for that. And we will move at this point then to our last item on the agenda, which is board reports. And I'm just going to encourage us all to keep it short and sweet. I want to make it back to my parents, so I'm hoping they're saving me a slice of cake. It's my dad's birthday, so that's the pressure I'm putting on everyone. All right.
I think it's your dad that's putting the pressure on everyone. Perdón, señor Guzmán.
All right. Anyone? Go ahead.
I would just like to say I had the thrill and honor of being a part of 3 different graduation services and also being a part of the Avid Stole giving away. And it was just, it tickles my soul. And in the words of Director Carson Cunningham, it is a sincere joy to be at those events. So. I would also like to second that. I didn't get to see Patrick graduate, but I did get to see Linda graduate. I also got to see some other folks at North Salem graduate. I was very ecstatic to get to participate for the second year in the LGBTQIA graduation ceremony and also participate in our Black and African American graduation ceremony. I love being in community and culture and getting to have some really good food. And I think the only other thing that I would add is scats. So if folks haven't received like a little letter or postcard in the mail, the Oregon travel survey is going on, and this helps us also know where to allocate funds for improvements. Again, folks, this is the policy committee that gets federal funding to designate specifically for infrastructure in Marion, Polk, Salem, Keizer, Turner, and soon Almsville. So if there's places that you want sidewalks, places that you want crosswalks, stoplights, like, I don't know, streetlights, anything like that, please participate in that Oregon Travel Study Survey. Thank you so much.
I already talked about the Pacific Islander graduation. It was awesome. I also participated in the African American Black graduation, and the McKay Capella Choir sung, and it was just beautiful, 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 and uplifting. And I also got to go see the House of Horrors at McKay. It was awesome.
Oh, I heard it was great. Wow.
Thank you, Chair. You know, the real joy and blessing for being a school board director is going to the graduation ceremony. And thank you for inviting me or letting me share that with the McKay graduation and Sprague graduation. It's just amazing. You really see the happiness in the people and tears, and you know, this is where I tell you it makes sense around everything. You know, I call it like this is where the American dream begins for a lot of families, and literally changes the direction of their lineage and the family, and the story gets rewritten. So that's what I see, and so I literally enjoy it, not just standing there and giving out the diploma, but literally just walking through the crowd after the diploma. That's when the real excitement and joy. Also got to go to the migrant education program, and the Crystal Apple was wonderful. And I missed Dr. Udo Sinata this time, the Sprague graduation. So, but hey, that's the way it is, Doctor. So, normally we are there, whether it's heat stroke moment or it rains. We have been there to all the Sprague. This time I was looking for you, I missed you, but I know. So, wonderful. So, Olga, thank you for being there in that McKay graduation. So, thank you very much.
Chris, do you want to go, Chrissy, and then?
Chrissy.
Jeez, I just, I mean, I don't know if any kiddos are watching, but I'm proud of you, and you did it. You're going to have your certificate soon, hopefully, from the shell that's sometimes a shock when you walk across that stage of completion. So just gosh, whatever shell's holding you back now that you have, if you hear these words, please work on shedding them and just go out in the world and do your best. Thank you so much for letting me be a part of a little bit of your growing up.
I guess I just want to share like what I've kind of saw and learned, but this year was filled like with a lot of loss within our district, and I don't want to discount that. But I've also seen so much love within our district through this position, so much love that students have for their teachers, and so much love put in from the board to our district. And I think it's been such a privilege to see and such a beautiful thing, because our students care so much about our staff within our district, and our staff cares so much about us within our district. And I think as a student that graduated, I'm just really proud to know that like students are cared for, but so are the staff. And I'm really proud to see how much the board cares too, which I've seen. So yeah.
Okay, I have a lot, but I'll go really fast. It was amazing. Director Harnish mentioned the AVID graduation. I love that ceremony. I can't even remember how many tens of millions of dollars in scholarships those kids earned, but every time I go to that one, they flash it up on the screen, and it's just incredible. I can't wait to see what those kids do. Loved, again, going to the two back-to-back South Salem High School graduation ceremonies. They do an incredible job. It's such a special ceremony. It's beautiful. And yes, there's nothing better than handing out those diplomas. I'm excited we've passed our LGBTQ IA2S plus Pride proclamation again this year. I had the privilege of going to our Salem Pride block party this weekend, and I saw a lot of friends, allies, kids. It was really a joyous celebration, and I think it's really important for people in our community to show up at those events and teach the kids and teens that they have supporters and allies and that we're proud. There is an upcoming June 14th Pride Field Day put on by the district. You should have gotten information in Parent Square. Yes. And so hopefully people are planning to go to that. Again, it's really important for our kids who are part of the LGBTQ IA2S plus population to see and feel that support. This weekend was also Wear Orange Weekend to raise awareness around gun violence, which has impacted so many across the country, but has also impacted our community this year. And so we need to continue to raise awareness and prevent gun violence, which is currently still the leading cause of death for our nation's children and teens. And I'll just end by giving some gratitude and shout outs. It's my understanding that it is Suzanne West's final board meeting with us, which is just hard to believe, but we're gonna miss you so much. Suzanne, I think, was the first cabinet member when I first joined the school board that I showed up at an event and we were chatting, and we just had so much to talk about as far as our goals for improving student health and outcomes. Her passion shines through every day. She's presented a lot in this room, but I just see you as a very humble leader doing so much behind the scenes that probably a lot of people in the community have no idea about, and it really makes a huge difference for the staff of our district and for the kids every day. So thank you from the bottom of our hearts for your service to this district.
I want to jump in on that and say it was Suzanne who had a conversation with me about the results policy back on our first year, and was like, oh, that's the thing. So thank you for having, I want to echo just the patience and the grace and the humility and the care. I think you care so much and you know so much, and it's just super excited for what comes next for you, and we'll be following you. There's more board meetings ahead for you, and you will be at the dais, so excited for you. Super, super excited.
Apologies to Abuelito Guzman. But I also want to jump in on that because I mean, like, I have learned so much with so many of our cabinet members, but also with Director West, and just always being available to answer questions, even if sometimes they might have been like kind of ridiculous when I was like, is there any correlation between the data of like how often like students are arriving on time with like elementary arrivals and like high school arrivals? And I'm sure like Suzanne was looking at me like, what are you even saying? But she was always ready to just like help and jump in. And so we'll definitely miss you, and we'll still have to keep sharing book recommendations for sure.
Congratulations, Suzanne, for a much, much deserved position. You are one of the smartest women I know. Anytime anybody needed to know something, they knew they could go to you. And if you didn't know it, you'd find out. You will do an exceptional job in your new position. And if you need any help, just let me know.
Thank you, everyone.
Can I say?
Yeah,
something?
jump.
Dr. West, you're a phenomenal teacher. You taught me, what did you teach me? That stuck. You said the first 3 years, I'm in third grade, you learn to read and then you read to learn. Why that third grade reading is so important. And I kind of literally tattooed in my head, inside my head, and I keep repeating it again and again, and it's so beautifully stated, it's so simply stated. You're a phenomenal teacher, and thank you for teaching me that, and many other things. So I just want to say that. I want to repeat it and see I get some grades.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Patrick, is there anything you'd like to say, as I believe this is your last board meeting with us, and I think you're getting cold out there, so.
Yeah, no, it's okay. I love the cold. Well, I just want to say sorry to Senor Guzman. I'm going to try to make it as fast as possible. I guess all I have to say is, well, I just want to share gratitude. First of all, I guess it's been an honor being part of my school, Salem High School. I've had the wonderful opportunity of receiving the biliteracy seal. I've also had the wonderful opportunity of being part of South's Ava Class of 2024, in addition to being part of the culinary program. Moreover, it's been an honor serving the school board alongside Linda. She's an amazing friend, and I just know that she'll be doing amazing things in college. I can't wait to see what our future student advisors will do for the district. And I feel horrible that I'm not able to be there for the last meeting, but I'm really glad I brought my computer with me to say a final goodbye. I will miss everyone and the wonderful wonderful memories we created, as well as the wonderful opportunities that have come up throughout this last year. And yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Gracias a ti, Patrick. Thank you so much. Super grateful to have you part of the board, as well as Linda. Thank you, Dr. West. Look forward to what comes next for you. And it has been a year, a last few weeks of celebrations. And I think I was at the Roberts High School and celebration, as a graduation, one of the two that I attended. And I think what I'll just close with is, the student speakers are always amazing, and they share stories of perseverance and resilience. And I think for us as system leaders, it's a reminder of why this work matters, both for the celebration on the one end, but also as a reminder of, and I think a drive, at least for me, of like, this shouldn't be that hard. School should be a place of enjoyment, and kiddos should have access and resources. And as encouraging and inspiring as those stories are, they're also a reminder of the fractures in our systems that I think we are all here and eager to kind of keep pushing against. So we'll go ahead and adjourn, and I'm off to see my
Queremos pastel.
Queremos pastel, 8:45, meeting adjourned. Thank you, everyone.